encourage the pastors and people that are coming. So it's not a boring business type of meeting. This is like you're coming and we're worshiping and we're fellowshipping together. So that's a difference from what I've experienced with other things. All right. There are other announcements, so pay attention to those things. One thing, we're not going to be doing the daily office on Tuesday because I'll be driving my kids back to their moms that day. So that won't be happening. But we do have a Wednesday morning Bible study from 10 to 12, which I'm going to actually say something a little bit about that in my sermon itself. Last thing that we had, my family's here my parents are here from Kentucky, and my sister and her girls are here from Tennessee, Nashville area. And my sister and her husband have started a nonprofit organization. When you guys first hired, they were still or on the way back. They had just got back from Papua New Guinea from a year there. And I had shared that a little bit about that. They have felt the call to start a nonprofit organization in Nashville area. And I've asked my sister to share just a little bit about that. I think it'll be an encouragement to us. So, do you have something? Yeah.
Do you want to go up or do you want the mic?
Stand right here?
Yeah.
The mic?
I'm happy to keep this super informal. Oh.
Let's fix that.
Kaden, the amazing audiovisual specialist, is going to be pulling up. We're just going to work off of our website that we have. It kind of is very explanatory about what we are wanting to do. As Brent said, my husband and I, and our girls, we went to Papua New Guinea and we were there for 13 months and we learned a lot. And it was very humbling, very eye-opening to see how different countries live, different communities, and even in Papua New Guinea, there were different international families represented there. And so it was really eye-opening to us. One, to see how other people live, but two, I said that I came back more grateful and more patriotic than I ever did. And not because we missed the food in America, which we did. And it's not because we missed our family, which we were desperately missing. I was. Billy was kind of like, oh, that's fine. But we came back because we were very grateful to see how America is not perfect. And this isn't meant to be political at all, but we have a lot to be thankful for. And the things that we saw in Papua New Guinea, especially the way women and children were treated, opened our eyes to see that there is a lot that America offers, that in ways that children can be protected or that women can get help that they need to get if they seek it. Now, I know that doesn't always happen, and that's a conversation for a whole nother time. But when we were making our way back and deciding that it was time to come back, we wrapped up our time, we started researching what we could do because we didn't want to come back to life as it had been before. Billy had a corporate job with Amazon. It was great. It paid well. And he also had a farm, which he would be the first to tell you that's his favorite thing that he did. And he did both of those. And I am a nurse, still am a nurse, but we didn't want to come back to life as it was before. We knew that we wanted to do something, and I think as Andy Stanley says, the question isn't so much, what is my purpose here? If you're a believer, if you follow Christ, you know your purpose is to glorify God in whatever you do. But it's the question that you should ask yourself is, who am I here to help? And for us, that really rang home when we started seeing the research of Nashville is one of the larger cities that gets a lot of refugees placed there. It also has a large and diverse international population. And our hearts were just really burdened that there was a lot that could be done to help. And we even witnessed just going to Papua New Guinea, being the ones that stood out. We were the minority, and we were stared at a lot, and you just kind of get used to it. People were nervous to come talk to us, and we just realized that that's what happens a lot with these international communities that come here. Some come, and one of the things that we've done, our mission statement is there, but then Kaden, if you click on the see how, there's kind of like a threefold process that we want to work with, but our number one thing is intentional relationships. And that doesn't just apply to Working Mission and our nonprofit. That should be our goal for all of us. We need to have intentional relationships so that when the time comes and we can share Christ, that person's heart is like, no, what this person cares about me. What they have to say, I have built up trust with them. And so that's our foundation for everything, is just the intentional relationships. And we've done that for the first one. Katie, if you go down, that's involved, but you could go on our website and kind of see more about that. If you go to number 1, Katie. So the first thing that we did with our intentional relationships, we just were like, we're just going to start out. We're just going to start into this and let it grow from there. We have started conversational English classes, which have become the highlight of our week when we go. We had, at one point on the one picture, we had 6 different nationalities represented, and we just come and we are part of actual ESL classes and citizenship classes, but the conversational English is our favorite because there's no pressure. There's no test. There's no quizzes. You come and you talk. And you just say, hey, tell me about you. And a lot of international communities, and especially the refugees, especially the ones that we work with, Nashville has very specific populations of who is in our area, which would be the Kurdish people they've been there for a long time, but they were resettled in Nashville because of the persecution from Saddam Hussein. He really tried to eliminate them. He also even did chemical warfare on them. And they were kind of a nomadic tribe, and so they were under intense persecution for years. So Nashville has a large Kurdish population. We also have a large population of Karen people, which is spelled like Karen, but it's Karen, where it's from Burma, but it's now called Myanmar. But they would say, we are not Burmese. And we've learned so much. There's so much intricacy into this. They're very shy. They're very quiet people, and they will not go out of the way to draw attention to you. But we have learned that if you just get to know them, there is so much love, and they're just so grateful for someone to even care to talk to them. So we have a large Myanmar population. We have a large Egyptian population, and many of the Egyptians that we have come across, some of them are Muslim. A lot of them are Christians that have been persecuted, and so they have come. They're not necessarily refugees, but they've come because they're trying to escape from the persecution that they receive from the Muslim community. That's just the reality of their situation. And so for them, one of our families, she's represented there, Nadir and Raja, she said, Yous is our favorite people. That's how she said it, because they come to these conversational English classes and we just get to know them. And we talk and we learn about their lives. We learn about their life, what it was in their other country. And I think one misperception that we have is that, oh, well, they should be so grateful to be here. Well, I'm sure they are. But there's also a lot that they missed from their home and the things that they knew and the way of life that they knew back from where they came from. Even though it wasn't even the best circumstances, they still miss it. And coming to a new place, everything is foreign and new to them. So our biggest focus is those intentional relationships. The next, my husband is very passionate about farming. Tennessee, I was admiring your farmland as we drove around here. Tennessee is the #1 state that is quickly losing their farmland to businesses and subdivisions. And the governor is working really hard to try to partner with communities and with farmers particularly, as well as nonprofits, to try to preserve some of the agricultural farmland that we have and just farming in general. So that's one of the things we want to use. If you go to #2, we want to use some of those agricultural projects. We know that the protein is a deficiency, especially among the Karen people. They eat squirrels and rats. Even in Nashville, and you think, well, that doesn't happen here in America. It does. And so by offering some agricultural programs like chickens for eggs, chickens for meat, giving them a place to grow their gardens, not everyone is going to want to grow their garden. Not everyone wants to do that. Not everyone wants to have chickens or eggs. But a lot of the international communities, that is what they're used to. And so we want to be able to offer that. And then '3, this little girl right here, her name is Michaelin. That was an agricultural project we did in Papua New Guinea. And Billy provided chicken coop, and he provided chickens, and that was some of their first batch of eggs. That's protein for their kids that they did not have before. And so that's something that we're really proud of. Even though we're not in Papua New Guinea, we feel like there's still work that's going on. And then lastly, #3, we want to be able to, if you went on our website, you could see it more, but it's kind of more of a holistic approach. those intentional relationships, which we all can do. We want to provide the agricultural projects for them and a place for them to go. But thirdly, we want to go on from that to do job placement. Not everybody's going to do agriculture, not everybody's going to be a farmer, but we want to do strategic partnerships with other businesses, other nonprofits to say, hey, we have this person, and particularly the younger generation coming up, to say, do you have a job? Do you have a place where they could go, where they could learn a skill, where they could learn some, or even furthering their education? We want to come alongside them to partner. And we don't want to just be like, okay, well, great 2 years, see you later. No, we want to continue that cycle and say, hey, we helped you, now we want you to come along and help someone else. And so it kind of just comes back full circle. We have some other partnerships that we have already made with other nonprofits and some businesses that would say, yes, whoever you want to send me, we want to help and we want to be a part of that. And we just realized there was a great need in Nashville, in the Nashville area, but a lot of the refugees and international communities cannot afford to live in Nashville, even though that is where they are placed. They don't really have a whole lot of options of where they can go. But after a few years, they're moving out of Nashville because nobody can afford to live in Nashville. And so they're moving more into our county, which is right below. And that's the county we're focusing on, offering these services, offering this place for gardens, and really just being intentional to make them feel welcome and loved, and in a way that we can show them Christ. So, thank you so much for your time.